Welcome back to Catholic Pipes and the Briar Chronicles. Today, we're going to talk about bamboo and how much I love it. Now, I'm a big fan of bamboo pipes. I love them. There's just something so cool about a bamboo pipe. The aesthetic is it's just magical. And quite frankly, I think I need to add some more bamboo pipes to my own personal collection. Which, pipe collecting might be another episode topic. I'll get working on that. So as of right now, I only own 2 bamboo pipes, I'm pretty sure. These 2 guys. As I've said before, I just like how lightweight they are. I love the aesthetic. I love how they look and how, kind of a bamboo pipe makes it look like more dainty and like more elongated, which is, I don't know, it's just a cool aesthetic for me personally. But the pipe that we've been working on is going to have bamboo. So I'm going to talk a little bit about bamboo, and from here we're going to pick the piece that's going to be going onto the pipe, and then we'll talk about prepping it. But before we begin, it's Friday, which means I'm hoping that you guys all have your pipes on hand, and you have a nice glass of something to sip on while you watch this video. Today, I'm still smoking the same tobacco as I did, my Rainier Gold Cut. Mostly because if I tried a new tin every week, I'd end up blowing through my entire pipe tobacco collection. And I love you guys, but I'm not willing to make that sacrifice for you. So, I will work on more tobacco reviews down the road. But what is an endless supply is whiskey bourbon. So, today we have the Claremont Steep Malted Barley American Single Malt Whiskey. I got this from a friend who is a collector of bourbons and whiskeys, and he happened to have this one, and he gave it to me to test out. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let's test this out. All right. It's a nice heavy pour. Oh, there was dirt in my glass. Well. Oh, it's nice. It smells like very appley. Some graham cracker. Almost like some caramel or something. Mmm. Ooh. That hits the spot. It really caramel. A real woody taste to it. Subdued. Let me see. What is this? Charred barrels. Flash. Charred barrels. Oh, okay. American oak. Okay, so that's that vanilla oaky flavor that's coming through in the barrel, that woody flavor. But yeah, that sweet baked bread and a very kind of caramely flavor. And almost like a chocolate finish. It's actually not bad. That's pretty good. I think this bottle stands at about like $35 a bottle, which is, I don't know, for some of us getting a little up there in what we're normally comfortable paying for a bottle, but that's pretty good. 94 proof. So that's a little bit up there. That's good. Mm, yeah, that's delightful. I actually really like that. There is a weird aftertaste though to it. I take that back. It's okay. That weird aftertaste kind of takes over a little bit. So, I think that would be a great mixer. But if you like weird aftertastes, this got your name all over it. Bamboo. All right. So, as I've talked about bamboo before, as I was kind of introducing the Briar Chronicles, now we're going to learn a little bit how to work with it. So, I got a lot of comments in the last video that was talking about bamboo in their backyard. So, I want to address a couple things, and one of them is the fact that this right here, the bamboo that you see on pipes, this is actually the roots. So, this is not the stalks. The stalks are, and I don't have an example Yeah, I don't have an example on hand, but the stalks of things you see that are really tall, they can be very thick. Those are the ones that you see with the leaves on them. That's actually not what the pipes are made of. Though people do use those to make accessories like pipe cleaner holders, it's the roots that are what people utilize for pipe making. And so if you're going to harvest your own at any point, do be aware that it does take about a year. I would say a year at minimum before it's ready to be used in pipe making. Because remember, this is the root system. This is where the water gets absorbed. So there's a lot of moisture inside of the root. So you want to make sure that all of it's out, that this becomes completely stable, that it's not going to flex anymore, meaning there's no more shrinkage that's going to happen. You want this to be down to its final diameter. And I found in a temperature controlled environment that takes about a year for that to happen. And then it's ready for use. And a lot of these pieces I dug up myself and I've had in my collection of bamboo for several years now. So, as you can see, there's a multitude of different styles and aesthetics that you can get if you're able to harvest it yourself. And what you'll see from suppliers, so if you ever go to, say, Vermont Freehand, that is a pipe supplier, and Raw Crafted. So Raw Crafted and Vermont Freehand are the two big suppliers for pipe making supplies. I have worked with both of these gentlemen. I have great relationships with both of them, and I think that they are phenomenal suppliers with a wealth of knowledge and would be more than happy to chat with you to see what your pipe making needs are. But the reason why I bring them up is that when you go to them, what you're typically going to get in terms of bamboo is this kind of aesthetic. Relatively straight, subtle curves, pretty uniform spacing along the knuckles, which is great for making pipes. Absolutely. The crazier stuff, you have to find some suppliers in China. Sometimes the two that I mentioned will have some crazier looking bamboo for sale every once in a while. But typically, you kind of harvest it yourself if you want a different aesthetic. And the big thing about bamboo is you have to recognize it's a component of the pipe. Now, this is where some people will butt heads. You know, is pipe making just a hobby? Is it an art? What is it exactly? And it's honestly a little bit of everything. And there are definitely a lot of artistic principles that go into pipe making. And one of them is if you're going to have various components to your pipe. So, like for instance, like this one's a great example. There's three parts. There's the bowl, there's the shank, and then there's the stem. And another example is sometimes you can make your pipe out of all briar. So it's just the briar and then the stem. But either way, these are all components that fit into the overall composition of what the pipe's going to look like. So if you want a pipe that not only smokes great, but looks great, there are going to be artistic principles that you have to be mindful of. And one of them is, how does each part of the pipe play off each other? And this is something I noticed with starting out pipe makers, that they, and I'm guilty too, is that they rush the process. And what happens is you'll see guys who get super crazy looking bamboo and they just slap it onto the pipe. And the unfortunate reality is that the shape of the bowl doesn't match the aesthetic of the bamboo, and then the stem doesn't match the aesthetic of the bamboo. So you end up with not a complete pipe, but you end up with a pipe that has three distinct parts. Let me repeat that. If it's not crafted well, meaning that each aspect of the pipe is brought together in a cohesive design, you end up with a pipe that has three distinct pieces. Now, what's the difference between that and a pipe that's well crafted? That it all flows together. You see the bowl, the shank, and the stem. All of them play off each other in terms of their curves, their aesthetic, their color, their design. All of it goes, so when you look at the pipe, your eye doesn't stop at one particular point. It flows. Your eye goes from the tip to the end. So long as there's no interruption, then your pipe's doing pretty well in terms of design. So we have the pipe that we're working on. We drilled it out. I showed you the drilling process. And so in terms of design, the bowl itself is very straightforward. I have an example. So I make this shape a lot. So here's one that's almost done. So as you can see, the bowl, very triangular, very straightforward. It's a very nice dynamic shape. And likewise, we're going to want a piece of bamboo that flows with it. And so for this instance, we're going to try to find a nice straight piece of bamboo. And I think I found the one that I want. And it's right here. Because first things first, you have to look at the bamboo because it's not always even. So if you're going to do something that's got that's a straight piece of bamboo, you want to make sure it's really straight so that way your lines are straight through it. This right here, this segment right here is what I'm going to use for that pipe. A single knuckle. I think it'll look really fascinating, really interesting. And this piece of bamboo itself, even though it's hard to tell, it's got various shades of brown to it. So we have a nice dark patch here. We have it lightening up right here. We have some discoloration going on here. So it's an interesting piece of bamboo. So I think it's nice, dainty. The thickness or the diameter is right where I want it to be. And overall, it's going to give this pipe a very light feel to it. And that's what we're going for. We want something slick, something light, something functional. And I think that this piece is going to do it. So how do we prep the bamboo? So when we're going to drill out the bamboo, we're going to make it easy on ourselves in that we're picking a straight piece of bamboo, which means we just got 2 lines are going to be going through. Well, 3 lines. We're going to have, first, let's say, what did I do with it? Oh no, here it is. Okay, so we're going to cut our section and we'll show you that here in a second. So we're going to cut our section and we want to make sure that we cut the bamboo where it's straight. We don't want to cut it when it starts to flare out because that's going to kind of dictate the flare of the saddle of the stem. So in order to give us some kind of creative wiggle room, we're going to cut the bamboo right where it really kind of flat lines out on both sides. So once we cut that out, we're going to take this over to the lathe. Now there's a really important step here. Bamboo is made up of several fibers that kind of run up and down throughout the length of the root. And here's a good example. Now, we have to do something to stabilize the bamboo. One end is going to be anchored into the shank of the bamboo with a stainless steel tubing inside of there and a hardening resin. So that's going to join the two and make sure that that is a stable joint where it won't break. But here is where we can run into some trouble. And the reason why is that this is where the stem goes in and out. So when we push the stem in or we pull it out, however many times, it's going to start loosening the fibers, which can ultimately lead to cracking. So I've got this pipe right here, or this bamboo that's been drilled out. And what happened was, if you can see right there, it cracked. All right. So how do we prevent that? Right here. We're going to go ahead and cut down a collar. All right. So this collar is what we're then going to use to then secure a cap onto it that then holds all those fibers into place so that way it doesn't crack. All the pressure and friction will be up against that collar that's going to be made from the same material as the stem. So here's an example. If I pull this guy off, as you can see, there's a band right here. Underneath or inside that band is a collar that this band fits securely over. And then that way, when you push your stem back in, you can barely see it. And this one you can because it's a lot older and some gaps have happened. That's just due to age and me not cleaning it properly. But it'll be a flush fit. You won't even notice that this is there. So I got some other examples to kind of show you how that flush fit will look. So here's an example right here. it looks like it's all one solid piece, but then when I twist it off, that's when you can see that it is a nice snug fit. There's the cap that secures everything, and then it fits seamlessly. And I got several more examples. So that was like white bamboo. Here's one that's got a nice curve to it as well, a subtle curve. We have this other more gnarly piece that's got really cool coloring on it. But each time we're just trying to design the pipe around the bamboo and what it's going to look like. Here's one that's almost done. What this is looking like. Nice, petite. The bamboo just really adds a very delicate nature to it. All right. So once we have that collar on, we chuck it into the lathe and we face it, meaning that we put a little pin gauge. So in this case, we'd put it into the lathe, we'd have a pin gauge. This is not the right diameter, but that's okay for illustrative purposes. So imagine this in the lathe, it's spinning, and so we'll have a tool that will come in and you'll go zip right here, which makes it completely flat. It's flat on this side. So then when we attach it to the bowl of the pipe, it's a flush, seamless fit. And then from there, we can start smoothing it out. So as you can see right here, it's not completely flush yet. But it is a flush fit, but the wood doesn't match up perfectly. So that would be the next step, is then just kind of shaping everything to make sure that it all fits seamlessly. All right. So we'll go ahead and get some B-roll film for you. We'll kind of show you each aspect of that. And then let's see. Once we have the bowl, then we have the bamboo and the cap on it. Then all that's left is the stem work. pick up on this next week, where we go into stem making, because I think personally that of all the pipe making process, stem work is the most tedious, because stems are the most intimate part of the pipe. That's the part that you put into your mouth. That is the part that you are most acquainted with. And so there's several measurements that have to be done correctly, and the aesthetic of the stem has to be correct as well, to once again flow with the rest of the pipe while still adding comfort. And you're dealing with a smaller margin for error with the stem. So it takes a lot of practice, measurement, and work by eye. So if you guys have any more questions about the pipe making process, as you saw in this video, there was a couple that asked about harvesting your own bamboo. And as we're moving forward, if you guys have any more questions that you would like addressed in this next coming video about stems, go ahead and put them into the comment section, and I will do my best to address them. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Help this channel grow. The hobby of pipe making is still alive and well, and it can take on different levels of excellence and intricacy. So if you have friends who are into pipe smoking, pipe making, or are interested in getting started, please share this channel with them. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, this is Kadesh with Catholic Pipes and the Briar Chronicles, and you have a blessed week. Bye.